Meanwhile, one of their young global leaders, Jacinda, Prime Minister of New Zealand, recently came out and is calling for a global censorship system to make it so you can't say anything because, of course, as she said before, the New Zealand government, they decide what's the truth.
And when you see those messages, remember that unless you hear it from us, it is not the truth. And I really ask people, just visit govt.nz. It has all of the up-to-date information, and we will continue to provide everything you need to know.
Yeah, so she said that the truth is decided by the New Zealand government, and now she's come out and says there needs to be a global censorship system so no one could say anything except for what they say.
This week we launched an initiative alongside companies and non-profits to help improve research and understanding of how a person's online experiences are curated by automated processes. This will also be important in understanding more about mis- and disinformation online, a challenge that we must as leaders address. How do you tackle climate change if people do not believe it exists? How do you ensure the human rights of others are upheld when they are subjected to hateful and dangerous rhetoric and ideology? The weapons may be different, but the goals of those who perpetuate them is often the same. But we have an opportunity here to ensure that these particular weapons of war do not become an established part of warfare.
There are 193 countries in the world. 193 countries have signed up to Agenda 2030. We already have a one world government. That's why they're able to do this. They already control every country. I would just say they don't really control Mexico. The Mexican president's been awesome. I can't believe I say that, but it's true. And your average Mexican, for the most part, there is a lot of slaves in Mexico, a lot of zombies, just like everywhere. But most people don't like to follow government laws that much. Although that's changed over the years, it's definitely, there's more and more. But really it's like the people and what they call cartels, which is mostly just the people in every town, really keep governments in check. I wouldn't be surprised if Mexico's actually signed up to Agenda 2030. Now, if they can actually implement it is the key. And that's actually the key everywhere. Like if no one complies anywhere, they can't really do any of this stuff. But we'll see a lot of places, especially in the Western world, most people comply with anything the government tells them. They're totally whipped dogs at this point, for the most part. Now, of course, there's some Americans who won't, and that's great. But in general, most people will go along. And we'll see. Although I don't think they're going to win. But I should point out that I said in the last video that the new Italian Prime Minister might be some good news. But it only took me like a day of looking into her. And I'm like, okay, it's just the usual bullshit. Just like Trump. She talks pretty good. She talks about how families are good, which is true. But the very first day she was in office, she gave her support. She said, I'm throwing all my support behind Ukraine. So there you go, total globalist thing. And Giorgia Meloni is a member of the Aspen Institute, which is funded by the Rockefeller Foundation and the Kill and Belinda Gates Foundation, among others, and is also actively involved in the forum in Davos, where the World Economic Forum holds its annual meetings. What a surprise. So whichever way you look at it with Meloni, who by the way is fully promoted here by the mainstream media, the Great Reset will continue, even if she pretends not to. Look at her voting record. Unfortunately, the Italian people cannot be woken up. Yeah, it's unfortunate. People, they've fallen under the spell for the most part. And they can't even fathom what's being done to them or how coordinated it is or what a conspiracy it is. In fact, your average person, if they even hear the words conspiracy, they've been trained just like a Pavlovian dog to immediately get scared and run away when you say the word conspiracy. So your average person is too dumbed down, too mind controlled, and a lot of them too low testosterone to even realize there's a problem, much less fight back. But it's going to be interesting. I think there's going to be lots of hope in the next few years. It's just going to be in certain areas, like Liberland maybe, in Europe, and parts of Mexico maybe, and maybe parts of Brazil, maybe even parts of Russia. We'll see. But it's going to be interesting. And I really don't know what they're going to do next. I think they seriously might do that fake alien invasion.